Well, the NFL draft is tomorrow. I'm recording this on a Wednesday, so it's the day before the NFL draft. And the Eagles hold the 32nd overall pick because I don't know if you're aware of this, but the Eagles won the Super Bowl, which is cool. So the Eagles hold the 32nd overall pick in this year's draft, which will be the last pick, if you're unaware, of the first round. It's going to take a little bit for Eagles fans to find out who the newest bird is, but I think it's pretty clear we're all on the same page, right? Vontae Mack no matter what. Now, guilty pleasure is the movie Draft Day. I'll never forget that movie. There was a trailer for it. I forget what I was watching, but there was a trailer for that movie, and I said, that movie looks horrible. Fast forward 4 months later, it's in August on a Tuesday. Guess who's at a 10 o'clock showing of Draft Day? This guy right here. Yeah, it's a bad, good movie that I end up watching just about every single draft day. But to get to the actual football part, the actual real-life team of the Philadelphia Eagles, with the first two picks in this year's draft, I don't have any names for you because I'm not going to pretend to be a draft expert. I'm not going to pretend to watch any team other than Temple, and trust me, that was tough. That was an uphill battle this year and for the last bunch of years. But I have two positions that need to be addressed in rounds 1 and 2. Now, if you remember last year, the Eagles hit a massive home run in the draft by getting Quinyon Mitchell in round 1, the first cornerback taken off the board from Toledo. Absolute stud, Quinyon. And then in the second round, they trade up for Cooper DeJean, who at the time it was like, we were thinking about taking this guy in round 1. Now we're getting him in round 2. It reminded me a lot of the year that they took Winston Justice. And Winston Justice, I think, gets a bad rap by Eagles fans because you forget, like, he actually did turn himself into a pretty decent tackle. He ended up getting an extension. Juan Castillo did yeoman's work with Winston Justice, but when they took Winston Justice in round 2, he was considered to be a possible pick in round 1 when they ended up trading up for Broderick Bunkley. But kind of got sidetracked there. They hit a home run last year in the draft. They get 2 impact rookies right away. This year, I'm not looking for that. I'm not really looking for the impact rookie. I'm looking for the rookie that will make an impact next year, the year after, and can learn behind 2 vets. I don't know who they are. I don't know what their names are. But in round 1 or 2, I need a left tackle. No, I don't. I need a right tackle. Jesus. Hit thumbs down for that. I need a right tackle because their left tackle is a stud. Don't know why I said left tackle. Look, I'm not running a lot of sleep, folks. I had a late hockey game and couldn't sleep last night. So I need a right tackle and I need a tight end. It is that simple. I need the future right tackle of this team and I need the future tight end. I have been clamoring for the Birds to draft a future right tackle for the last 2 years at this point. And luckily they didn't do it because Lane Johnson is still here. But every year I feel like it is Anchorman with Panda Watch, but we're on Lane Johnson watch. And you're just waiting for the news that Lane Johnson will end up retiring. He's basically the last guy left, the last elder statesman of this team, of like the old guard of Kelsey and Cox and Brandon Graham, and it was Lane Johnson. Like, that was your leadership core. You wonder how many years he has left. And every year at the end of the season, I kind of wait on bated breath for the news of what's Lane Johnson going to do. And luckily, it seems like every year he just restructures and it becomes a moot point whether or not they drafted his replacement. But you just get the sense that it's like a ticking time bomb situation. And what I don't want to have happen is I don't want Lane Johnson to retire. Then you're forced to focus on getting his replacement in the draft and throwing a rookie at right tackle to protect Jalen Hurts. That's what I don't want to have happen. What I do want to have happen is you draft the future right tackle to sit back and learn behind this guy. That's what I want. I want that dude learning behind arguably the best right tackle in his generation. Now, I don't know how much Lane Johnson can teach, you know. It might be God-given. I don't even know if he's interested in mentoring a kid. I get the sense he is. He would be open to it just because he seems like that kind of guy. Every interaction I've ever had with him has been great. I don't get the sense he'd be like an Aaron Rodgers situation with Jordan Love or a Brett Favre situation with Aaron Rodgers. But I just don't like the idea of throwing a rookie at right tackle when this guy eventually decides, you know what, I've done everything there is to do in this game. I'm hanging it up. So I really would like them to get a kid in the building, learn under not only Lane Johnson, but learn under Jeff Stoutland, learn the system. And then let's say Lane next year decides to retire. Boom, you slide this kid in. He's been sitting for a year. He's been learning. He's been holding the clipboard. He's been developing. And, you don't have that rookie learning curve that you normally would have. And you also have to factor in that the Eagles are probably going to be drafting the back end of the draft for the foreseeable future. So that's another reason why I want to get the future in the building now, where he doesn't have to learn on the fly. Because if you're taking a right tackle, let's say with pick 32, you're taking that future right tackle. If you have to throw him into the fire, there's a pretty good chance that he's not the first right tackle taken off the board. He's probably the third, the fourth, whatever. But the odds are the first right tackle is not being taken at pick 32. And that first right tackle at pick 32, no one's saying like, oh, wow, it's a stud. Lane Johnson was drafted the 4th overall pick in a horrible 2013 draft. So that's another reason why. You're not taking a can't-miss prospect at pick 32 at the right tackle position. If you were to take one, it's even more of a reason, I think, to just draft and let that kid sit, learn, and develop. In the second position, I made a video about this. It's tight end. I know Dallas Goedert's on the trade block. I don't quite understand why. It's not like I'm opposed to moving on from Dallas Goedert when his contract is up. In fact, I'm a big favor of it. But I want that future tight end in the building. And I don't think that future tight end is Grant Calcaterra. I made the point in the other video. Grant Calcaterra retired from football for concussions. Football is a pretty dangerous sport, It's a contact sport. That's Dallas Goedert. He can't finish a full season healthy because of the fact that he initiates contact. It seems like every time he touches the ball. So because of that, I don't like the idea of having Grant Calcaterra be my number one tight end. When Dallas Goedert leaves, I need a tight end. And I think unquestioned they will address tight end in the first 2 picks of this draft. Right tackle I don't know about, though. And I would like them to do that. That would be cool to me if they address those 2 positions. Other than that, the Eagles are in a really good position. You look up and down the line and you just go like, you can always use more defensive ends. That would be cool. Safety, I guess. They did trade C.J. Gardner-Johnson. How much faith do they have in Sidney Brown? He's been learning for 2 years. Okay, maybe. But they don't have these glaring holes and weaknesses that you go like, you need to take X, Y, or Z like a lot of teams do. So the Eagles are in a really good position. I'm interested to see who they take. Whenever they do take them, I'll get some guy who is an expert to come on here and wax poetic about the pick or lambaste the pick. Lambaste? As I said, folks, I'm legitimately, it's like 2.5 hours sleep. So just smash thumbs down for that. But NFL draft tomorrow, and I'll end with a quick story. I used to be really into the NFL draft. Like I used to be this guy that would watch college football all the time. And in high school, I can hear people just tuning out for this story that you didn't ask for. In high school, me and my buddy, Charlie O'Connor, who now works for PHLY, doing flyer stuff, we made a 300-page draft Bible just for fun. Like we just did this for fun. And there was a class at Cardinal Doherty called Senior Seminar where I could have gotten a grade for this. Did I do that? No. That's probably why I didn't get in a Temple, because of genius moves like that. I'm literally doing the project. I'm doing what Senior Seminar would be. I could have gotten a grade for it. I could have done well on it. And instead, me and my buddy decide we're going to do a 300-page draft Bible with breakdowns, 2 mock drafts, sleeper pick, all that. And that was for the 2007 draft. And I knew that draft inside and out. And then after a while, it just like there was other sports and life got in the way and stuff. But I do miss being so locked into the draft. And I feel like this year kind of just snuck up on me. And that's a bad job by me. But I at this point recognize that I'm not the quote-unquote, maybe I never was the expert, but I will get somebody on here to break down the picks that actually does know. Probably Andrew Jacheco from 97.5 The Fanatic, who does an incredible job for them, and he breaks it down like no other when it comes to all these prospects. He knows all these guys and whatnot. So I'll look to get Andrew on once the picks are made. But, I don't know how to wrap this up, so I'll just